What's going on, craft beer lovers? I am here on Thanksgiving 2020, and I have finally decided to crack open something I've been looking forward to for quite a while. Also a little intimidated. I got a lot to say about this one, and I don't really know what it's going to taste like. This is the Founders Dirty Bastard Scotch Style Ale. Now, why am I so excited? Well, I am... a lot of my heritage is Scottish. Obviously, I grew up in Texas, so I'm definitely American, Austin, Texas, born and bred. But I have spent a decent amount of time in Scotland, in Edinburgh. I've traveled there a couple times. I have family in Glasgow, and you know how it is. We have certain parts of our heritage or of our family line that we just feel closer to, that we associate more with, and I gotta say, I've just always felt Scottish. Like, that is a major part of how I view myself, I suppose. And as much as possible for someone who doesn't actually live in Scotland. So if you're from Scotland, I sound like an idiot right now. I'm sorry. But the truth is, I love Scotland, and I love Scottish culture, and I feel very much connected to it in many ways, as far as I can be, considering that I didn't live there and didn't grow up there. So... I've never had a Scotch ale. Now, I do like Scotch whiskey. It's actually, that's why I've got these awesome Glencairn glasses. If I remember right, these won some award from, like, the Queen of England or something for being an extremely Scottish design or something like that. So these are, like, the perfect Scotch whiskey glasses. That's what they're intended for. And as you've seen, if you've seen my other videos and my other Instagram pictures, you will notice that this is pretty much the glass I always use. And obviously not really a beer glass, but I found that it's perfect for trying new beers, and it really lets me take a good look at how it you know, the visuals, and hold it up to the light and so forth. So maybe it's not intended for beer, but I find these just an absolutely perfect beer glass for my purposes. I also looked up, you know, I'm going to tell you a little about what I've learned about Scotch ale, and one of the things that made me kind of smile is that the particular beer glass you're supposed to use for Scotch ale is called a thistle glass, which is it has kind of a unique shape. I don't really know how to show it with my finger, but it's kind of a strange shape, this thistle glass. And of course, the thistle is an important flower and plant in Scotland, and kind of a symbol of Scotland in many ways. It's beautiful, but also thorny. And so we're getting into Scotch ales, and I have 3 of them in my fridge. I'm not going to list them off right now. I'm not sure which ones they are. Actually, I do know. I'm lying. I know which ones they are. There's this one from Founders. There's the Blue Owl Sour Scotch Ale. And then there's one from an Icelandic brewery. So I'm starting with the Founders because here's why. We all know Founders makes incredible beers. If you've had Founders beers, you know they're top-of-the-line American craft beers. And in particular for me, the Founders Porter was the first porter that I ever tasted, and it made such a good impression on me, and it really helped lead me into the world of stouts and porters, which I'm still discovering and still learning so much about on this channel. And but so I figured if I'm gonna try my first taste of a new style, this Scotch ale that I've never had before, well, Founders has already earned my respect as a brewery that's going to help initiate me into that style. And so I feel like this is going to be a very representative example of what the style is supposed to taste like. And also, if there's any chance that I like this style, this one will be probably the one I like of those 3. This will probably be the one I like best if I had to guess. Now, why am I kind of intimidated or concerned by this beer right here? Well, it's because my favorite style of beers is like IPAs and pale ales, and those are known like extremely hoppy, light-colored ales, crisp, and the Scotch ales are on the other end of the spectrum, as far as I understand. Remember, I've never tasted one or even poured one for myself, but as far as I've researched and I understand it, they're extremely malt-heavy beers. Hops won't grow in Scotland. If you've ever been there and you have any idea what a hop, vine like needs to grow, you would not be surprised to learn that the Scottish climate will never produce hops. So what does it produce? It produces, malt and barley and what do you call it, peat and stuff. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert on Scottish agriculture, so I probably said something wrong just now. But, Scotland is known for malt and peat. Hops, no. Although I did learn that they used to use, sometimes they would use, like, not herbs, but yeah, I guess herbs and plants to flavor their beers almost in the same way we use hops these days. But one problem is hops offer preservative powers and help keep beer, I guess, shelf stable for longer. And so I guess I was researching, there's a problem in Scotland is that the beers might not have, they might have had trouble lasting. So I don't know. I guess the hops are something that Scotch beers are not known for. What else do I want to tell you? I learned so much interesting stuff. I'm kind of looking at my my research here, but also looking at the bottle. Why don't I do the basics first and go over what this bottle tells us? You can take a look at the Dirty Bastard. Has the classic kind of Founders style, strange sort of artwork. What am I looking at here? It looks like I guess an angry Scotch dude kind of grinning furiously. He's got one of those caps on. I can see now. At first I thought it was a little circlet, but he's got one of those like Scottish hats on. and so Founders bottles have never been much to look at for me. I've said before that I love talking about the design and the marketing and the branding of beers because I feel that's part of the experience for a good craft beer. But to tell the truth, Founders is I don't like their labels very much, honestly. I guess they've grown on me a little bit, but they really are not in any way the kind of imagery and colors and visuals that normally appeal to me on a shelf of beer. But they make great beer, so whatever. I'm not going to complain. Now, this is an 8.5% ABV. So a lot of Scotch ale is on the relatively strong side. I'm not talking imperial stout levels of 14%, but it is pretty common to see these 8 to 10% ABV Scotch ales, which sort of makes sense to me at least because, again, if you've been to the Scotch climate, I mean, you kind of are looking for a sipping, warming beer because it's cold and wet there a lot, so it makes sense. Now, of course, this thing has a freaking beer, what do you call it, a price sticker on it that I should have peeled off earlier, so I can't read the entire label. That was dumb. Why don't I pull up what Founders says about it? Yeah, well, I'm thinking. But I know that basically I'm saying this is going to be totally different than the kind of ale I usually go for, and that's, again, why I'm a little intimidated. Plus, higher ABV beers, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with some of them, I think, because they're just so in your face a lot of times that if you like what's getting in your face, then it's going to be good, but if you don't, it's going to be kind of tough to get through the whole bottle. So, like I said, a tiny bit intimidated. Okay, here's what the label says. Like I said, it's got a sticker on it, so I got this as a single for $3, but the label says, Dirty Bastard Scotch Style Ale, IBUs 50, beer rating 98. That's pretty impressive. It says, so good it's almost wrong. Dark ruby in color and brewed with 7 varieties of imported malts. Complex in finish with hints of smoke and peat, paired with malty richness and a right hook of hop power to give it the bad attitude that a beer named Dirty Bastard has to live up to. Ain't for the wee lads. A little reference to the wee heavies, which is another name for a lot of Scotch ales on the higher ABV side. Some other interesting things I learned in my research. Okay, so peat and smoke. Oddly enough, those are not actually requirements for a Scotch ale. There's some kind of theorizing that because drinkers associate peat and associate smoke with Scotch whiskey, that is kind of cross-pollinated into Scotch ales, and now it's not unusual to get a little bit of peat and a little bit of smoke in the Scotch ales. But in my research, at least, and don't take this as gospel, but my research suggested that is not mandatory, and in fact, for old-school Scotch brewers who were making this style originally, I guess in the 1800s or whatever, they didn't do anything in particular to make their beers peatier or smokier than ales from other regions. So I don't know that for sure, but that's just what I read. I think we're about ready to crack this thing open. I don't have that much more to say. It was bottled on August 6th, so it's been almost 4 months since it was bottled. I also thought it was interesting that the Founder's description mentioned hops, because like I said earlier, hops in Scotland don't really mix, so I don't really know what this is going to taste like. I have absolutely no clue at all what I'm about to get into, and I might hate it, I might love it. We'll see. What I'm going to do, as always, I'm going to crack it open, I'm going to pour it on camera, and then I'm going to grab a quick shot for my Instagram, which you can go find, and I hope you do. Go find it at Craft Christian Reviews on Instagram. Like I've said, I think, actually, in many ways, the Instagram craft beer community is more active than the YouTube craft beer community. So go find me over there if you're interested in this kind of content. But let's crack it open, and I don't know what's about to happen. Okay. Oh, that smells really malty. Now I'm real nervous. All right, let's do it. Ruby, they say. Yeah, that's a little bit of a different color. I'm colorblind, so I call that brown, I guess. I will be right back. All right, I got myself my picture for my Instagram. Go find it. Go find it. Sorry, I'm adjusting this. I am actually watching, I'm rewatching Braveheart today. I don't know why it struck me that on Thanksgiving I wanted to watch Braveheart, but if you're starting to understand how this all fits together, I'm rewatching Braveheart and drinking Scotch Ale on Thanksgiving. I don't really know how this all ended up happening, but anyway. Wow, yeah, oh my god. I don't know if I'm going to like this. That is just pure malt. That is by far the maltiest thing I've actually ever smelled. That's, wow. Yeah, there's no trace of hops, there's no trace of bitterness, it's just pure smoky malt, maybe a little peat smell. I don't know about this. Let's give it a taste. That is the most malty thing I've ever tasted. That's not even remotely close. It's a little sweet. It's so weird because it's so weird to me to taste that because when I drink beers, like I said, I usually am going for hoppy or perhaps sour things. Hoppy and sour are my favorite. And this has no trace of hops and no trace of sour. So it's like I feel disoriented. This is beer, but it's nothing like the kind of beer I usually drink. I don't even know how to describe it. It's caramel, sweet malty caramel with a little bit of bitterness. It's good. This is never going to be my favorite style. I know that right now. It's just not what I'm looking for when I think of what beer tastes like. But I'm so glad I'm trying it right now, trying it today. I'm so glad I'm learning about it. Because, you know, if you like to learn about, if you like craft beer and you like beer in general, it's good to learn about all the different styles just so you can understand the immense range of tastes and styles that beer encompasses. Because, you know, it makes me laugh how everyone's so snooty about wine. I'm not the first to say this, but let's get real. The amount of difference, the amount of range between different types of beers across all styles, compared to the amount of range between all the different kinds of wine there are, it's not even close. Beer is so much of a more broad range, so much more creativity and difference between all the styles. And this is just so, you wouldn't even think this is the same type of beverage as like a hoppy IPA. But they're produced in such similar, I mean, they're brewed in, you know, there's a lot of similarity between the way they're brewed. So they are the same beverage. A hoppy IPA and a malty Scotch Ale, their brewers understand the connection between them. But in terms of the person drinking them, they're so radically different from each other. It's just incredible, astonishing, and we're so lucky. When I'm drinking beers like this, even when they're not to my taste, not to my style, I just can't help feeling and remembering that an emperor, a king, could never have tried all the different kinds of styles that I'm able to try simply by going to my local supermarket or my local craft beer store. And I just feel so lucky, and I hope if you're watching this, you take a moment, and I don't mean to be preachy, I don't. I'm so grateful, and I hope we can all be grateful for the incredible, how fortunate we are to get to try all these different styles, and you could have controlled the known world 1,000 years ago. You could have been the most powerful emperor on the planet, and I bet you still couldn't even come close to the level of quality and variety that we get to try just by walking into our local beer store. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to wrap this up because I've talked a lot. Oh my God, a squirrel just jumped out of a tree. Wow, it just jumped like 20 feet on the... Wow, that was weird. Just like jumped out of a tree branch into a pile of leaves. It was like 10, 20 feet up. Just ran off. I'm going to wrap this up and say, this is not my kind of beer. It's not. It's good. I can see what they mean. I was absolutely right about what I said at the beginning, that if you want to learn what a style is supposed to taste like, go grab a Founders, because they're going to show you what the style is supposed to be like at its best. I already know this is a great Scotch ale, and I also already know Scotch ale is never going to be my style, at least not in this decade of my life. But I think if you want to expand your horizons and you haven't had this kind of beer yet, go pick one of these up. You won't regret it. I'm going to enjoy drinking the rest of this. Will I want to reach for a second one? No, I already know I won't. But it's not because the beer's bad, it's just because it's not quite to my taste. So go pick up a Founders Dirty Bastard. I would definitely, as I've said, recommend it to anyone who wants to learn more about this style. If you like this kind of content, click that subscribe button. Leave me a comment if you have any thoughts about Scotch Ale, if you know any of the history that I didn't touch on. If I got anything wrong, don't be shy. Just let me know, okay? I'm not here for ego. I'm here to learn. And I hope you can leave me a subscribe or a like or a comment, and especially to go find me on Instagram at Craft Christian Reviews. You can see the picture I took. I won't spoil anything, but go find it. I hope you find it. It's a pretty funny picture. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. Enjoy whatever you're drinking. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Take care of your loved ones, and I'll see you in the next review. Peace out.